This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social. Delighted to be joined by the Haymaker, David Haye. We're here in London at the screening of Whyte-Chisora 2 Bad Blood. Yes. Interesting documentary, David.
It was a little look back 2 years ago at the O2 Arena. Dereck Chisora and Dylan Whyte locked horns in an epic battle, and we was here to see some of the shenanigans that went on before it and after it and during it, and everyone was thoroughly entertained.
It's quite surreal for me to watch that fight with you commentating now in the position that you're with Dereck Chisora. Yeah. Was it weird for you?
It was. I've never actually listened back to my own commentary. Whenever I watch a fight and commentate on it, I've watched the fight, so I don't need to watch it again. So it was made me cringe a little bit listening to myself commentating. Some of the stuff sounded spot on. Some of it, I remember I did an analogy where I said, I think it looks like Dylan Whyte's just shot his bolt there, and I was like, what the hell am I talking about? What I meant is he shot his bolt, but not in a sexual way, in a boxing, emptying the tank, I should have said. But then that could be seen as I've emptied my tank in that type of.
I think you don't need to continue to explain that, David.
But listen, I was listening to myself. Doing commentary was maybe cringe a bit.
A couple of things that you said in there from a technical point of view, potentially giving the game away a little bit. You were talking about Dylan Whyte's counter left hook when the right hand to the body. Is that something that you've relayed back to Dereck?
Yeah, obviously anybody who watches Dylan Whyte knows that's his money punch. The counter left hook. So it's no secret that we're aware that's what he does best, and it should be a remedy for that. But it's a great shot, and when Dylan lands it, he lands it hard, he lands it crisp. Ask Joseph Parker, ask Anthony Joshua, ask Lucas Brown. I think they will attest that it's a great shot that he's got better and better with. He throws it better now than he threw it back then. So we're aware.
Now, you've mentioned the fact that Dylan Whyte has improved a lot since the first fight. How different is Dereck Chisora from the first fight, and also from the Dereck Chisora that you faced when you boxed?
That Chisora was 6 years ago. The one I faced, he's very different to the one that I saw up there. Going by his sparring, going by his physical conditioning, just looking at the physical shape he was in. He's in better shape now. We're probably over 2 weeks away, just under 2 weeks away from the fight. I think that he's where he needs to be. We're aware that Dylan, as you said, has improved. He's on a good run of victories, and Chisora had an underwhelming fight in Monaco, where he sort of laboured to a 12 rounds loss, where he didn't seem motivated, didn't seem G'd up for the fight. But I think after that, he did a bit of soul searching. He found religion. He's mentally seems in the right place where he needs to be to get the best out of himself. So I'm fortunate that I've been able to work with Dereck, with him being in the mindset he has. I'm not sure if I'd have got along with him, listening to some of his team explaining how he used to be in terms of training and strength and conditioning and whatnot. So I think he realised this is that last chance saloon. That's a bit of a cliche, but he knows this is his last shot at potential glory. He's got so much in front of him potentially if he can get through this fight. If he can win this fight against Dylan Whyte, the world's his oyster. And as Eddie Hearn was on stage earlier saying that the April 13th date at Wembley Stadium, in his ideal mind, it would be Deontay Wilder first, Tyson Fury second, and the winner of Chisora Whyte third. It looks like the WC have ordered an immediate rematch for Wilder and Fury, so that ties them up. So it potentially opens the door for the winner of this fight on the 22nd of December. So both fighters are fully aware what's at stake. Definitely Dylan chose this fight. Dylan wanted this fight. And fighters don't take fights they don't believe they can win. Both fighters are very, very confident of victory, and when you get that, you're gonna get fireworks. Chisora is in very, very good shape. He's ready for a 12-round war. Whatever Dylan brings to the table, Chisora's willing to match him and raise him. And I'm just very, very fortunate that I've got this version of Dereck to work with.
You just mentioned Eddie Hearn. I said off camera that it was quite interesting to see you and Eddie being so cordial up there, just a matter of feet away. Obviously, quite a high-profile press conference that you did with Tony Bellew, the infamous apples and pears. I think one of the interesting side notes to this promotion is the fact that you've got Dillian Whyte, Dereck Chisora, yourself, and Eddie Hearn, 4 very combustible elements. Is it going to be that? Is it going to remain that cordial between yourself and Eddie, or are you going to have to wait and see until fight week?
Like combustible elements, I like that. My fight isn't with anybody. My fight isn't with Dylan, isn't with Eddie. It's not with Chisora, no. My fight is to make sure Dereck is in good health, that Dereck is motivated, that he's mentally in the right place, that everything in and around him is calm, to allow him to give him the best shot. So me screaming and shouting at anybody isn't gonna help that. So I'm not worried about what Dylan says to me or Eddie. Me and Eddie get on. There's no issues with us two. We're here to promote the fight, to make sure that the fans get the fight they want to see, and I'm very happy with how things have gone so far. We're right around the corner from the fight, and tickets are pretty much all gone. The Sky box office is looking like it's going to do some great numbers, because everybody wants to be here and see this fight live, because the first one was so exciting, it was so dramatic, that people want to be there for round 2.
Tell me about working with Dereck Chisora in the gym. Very, very funny story that was told today about his middle of the night runs. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, Dereck occasionally likes to sort of wake up and just go running for miles and miles. Strange thing. Yeah, like 3, 4 a.m. Just wake up and just run for 10 miles. I don't know. I've never done that before. It's never something I can understand why you do it. But I think sometimes maybe just to clear his mind, or just maybe he's got something in his head and he just needs to just run it out. Maybe, I don't know, in terms of endurance, he needs to know that he's got 10 miles in him. So come fight night, what's 12 rounds if you've got 10 miles in you? So he does what he wants to do from time to time. But as long as what he's doing is constructive, running for 10 miles, nothing wrong with that. Maybe not the night before the fight, but in certain, he's in training camp, so his body can handle whatever he throws it in. If he wants a 12-mile run at 3 a.m, I'm sure we've got to adjust the next day's training. But outside of that, I don't think it's a bad thing.
Any hairy moments? I imagine it's quite an interesting dynamic. You yourself a self-confessed control freak. Dereck Chisora, by all accounts, impossible to control. You've also knocked him out. So what's that dynamic been like? Has there been any interesting moments throughout camp? No,
it hasn't. I think it's been quite. I think it's as good as I could have hoped. Really is. He's a big character. He's a powerful man. He likes what he likes. He doesn't like what he doesn't like. And I've had to be very mindful that he's the boss, that he's the guy getting in the ring, putting his life on the line, and if he wants to do something, it's down to him. I can give my advice. I can say, if I was you, I'd do this, or I did this when I was doing it because X, Y, and Z reason. If he's still there and says, no, well, I'm doing this way, okay, that's it. He's the guy doing it. And I don't know everything. There are certain things that he may do and that I didn't do, but it might work for him. We have different body shapes, we have different body types. We have different genetic makeup, and what works for me might not work for him, and vice versa. So it's been fun and interesting working with him physically, trying to get the best out of him. And I think we found a happy medium where he's incorporated a lot of the stuff that I advised. And he's kept some of the other stuff that he used to do, and we're trying to combine them all together, and it seems to be going the right way, and he seems quite content. He seems happy about where he is physically, mentally. We don't know till fight night, but I'm very confident. I'm very happy after being in camp with him for so long that he's where he needs to be, and he's ready for war.
Moving away from the fight, you've mentioned it, Wilder Fury, this past weekend, or last weekend in LA. What did you make of the fight?
I thought it was great. I thought it was a fantastic fight. It had so much drama, so many ups and downs, literally. I thought the manner in which both fighters conducted themselves after the fight, it was very controversial. The scorecards from the judges, I think both of them covered themselves in glory, particularly Tyson. As he had a lot of naysayers. A lot of people, thought he wasn't serious, but he proved that, he can he's elite. He's one of the best heavyweights on the planet, and he didn't get the victory. He got a draw. He's still undefeated, and I think this could potentially be the start of something very, very, very fun for the fans. You got Wilder as well. This was his first big night, real big night where he had to really dig in, and he did. He missed a lot of shots. I'm sure he'll re-watch that fight and realise that he made a lot of mistakes. As will Tyson Fury. So both fighters are going to improve, and you've got a certain Anthony Joshua over here, licking his lips, looking at that fight. I'm sure he's watched that and thinking, I could beat both of these guys. So he's probably seen a lot of mistakes that he believes he can capitalise on, and I just think it's great for heavyweight boxing. You've got three big names, huge man mountains, all claiming to be number one. It's nice. It's good for the division, and although the decision of the draw was quite controversial, I think for boxing it's not the worst thing, because a lot of people may not have known Deontay Wilder before this fight, but they know him now. Well, same thing in America with Tyson Fury. Not many people have heard of him over there. Now they do. So let these guys fight again. There'll be they'll earn so much more money this time. It'll be a bigger fight, and we'll figure out who's better of the two.
When I spoke to you before that fight, you told me that, you're somebody who's been in the ring with Deontay Wilder and sparring. You said to me that Tyson Fury's defence has to be perfect. He can't afford to be hit. Yeah. He got hit a little bit in the 12th round. Yeah. Were you surprised to see him get up? You're somebody who's tasted Deontay Wilder's power in big gloves.
Yeah, I said that. I said if Wilder's able to land clean, like he did in that 12th round, I thought that would be the end of the fight. What I didn't envisage was Tyson Fury being able to negate 95% of Wilder's attacks. He was slipping and sliding and rolling and parrying. He looked like Pernell Whitaker and Willie Pep. He looked like Willie Pep in there. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. His reflexes were so good. He was making Wilder fall short, making him look very clumsy. Wilder looks wild on his best day, but he made him look very, very, very untidy. He was throwing his right hand before his left hand had even come back. He was crossing arms. I've never seen him do that before. But Fury was making him do that. You with me? So I remember I did an interview before. I said, if he can somehow get Wilder into the same mind frame as he got Vladimir Klitschko in, he's got a very good chance. And he seemed to do that. Obviously, Wilder broke free of that spell and hit him on the chops a couple of times and put him over. But he's got a way of just somehow just putting a spell on you and you're in there. It's really clever how he does it. And also his young coach as well. I thought, listening to what he was saying to Fury between rounds, Tyson, really respected him, really listened to him, and he was giving him real clear, concise information. He wasn't mumbling. He was just telling him exactly what to do, and everything he said was spot on. Normally I listen to corners, I'm like, what's this guy talking about? But he was really good. I'd never heard him before in a corner, but he was on the money, and I think that's a real nice team they've got there. He's got a young coach who I don't know any other. Does he know any other fighters he trains?
He's not anyone.
Exactly. So I've never. He's got no history, but off the strength of what I saw, then the condition that Fury was in, the tactics he applied, and how he regrouped after every round and listened to his coach, I thought it was fantastic. I think that's the start of a very good boxing coach.
It's a little bit Adam Booth-like, some of his instructions in the corner. I felt very calm, very concise.
Very calm, very clean. Sometimes a coach can get too caught up in it. Right, you need to jab. Stop getting hit with the left hook. Keep your back foot 6 inches to the right, and pull your shorts up. Sometimes you can give someone too many instructions. You just need to slow it right down. Make sure your fighter's calm. Take a deep breath. Okay, now move to your left a little bit more. Keep the hand up a little. Whatever it is, keep it clean, concise, and hopefully your fighter can absorb that information. You give someone more than 2 or 3 bits of information in the heat of the battle, you don't hear anything. You just busy trying to get a drink because you're gasping. But I really like that dynamic, and I wasn't sure about him. I didn't know him. I've never heard of him before, but really was pleased that he's got someone he listens to and can get the best out of him.
Okay, well, just before I go, because I appreciate your time is very, very precious, you're a very busy man. Does the Wilder Fury fight affect kind of the top heavyweight ranking? What's your top 3, as it were? I think you've just said the winner of Whyte-Chisora 2 probably rightly becomes the 4th best heavyweight in the world. Wilder Fury, does that affect the top 3? What's the top 3 as it stands?
It puts Fury. I always had it Joshua Wilder with Fury as kind of the wild card, because we don't really know how good he is, because he once was possibly number one, but since then he's fallen off the boil. You know, it's like me winning Wimbledon 1 year and not playing for 2 years. Am I still number one? Not really, no. These other people have won it since, so it's all about current form. So we wasn't sure about current form. It was just out of respect we put him up there, because at one stage a couple of years ago he did something amazing. But after the draw, a lot of people thought it was a victory. You have to put him up there. You know, you can't really say Wilder's better than him. I don't really think there's many people that, even Wilder's biggest fan, can't say that Wilder's way better than Fury. You know, best you can say it was a draw. The judges saw it how they saw it, and it was a draw. So let's see it again. So off the strength of that, you have to you put them all together. I can only put them all together. You know, Anthony Joshua's biggest win probably is against Klitschko. You know, after Klitschko lost to Fury and was out of the ring for a while. So he's had the consistency and beat the better opponents. To Alexander Povetkin was a very good performance, a solid knockout. Joseph Parker, you know, but he didn't knock him out, didn't knock him down. You know, and since then, you know, Dylan Whyte knocked him down heavily. So you can make an argument for all three of those to be up there. But I need to see them all in the ring with each other. My opinions are relevant. I want to see all three of them at the top of the pile. They're the best heavyweights on the planet. Let's mix it up. Let's see who's best. It might take a year or two to get them all to fight each other, but it'll be entertaining. Whoever's in there, of anyone.
Okay, well, David Haye, as always, it's a pleasure catching up with you. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social.
Waffled my way out of that last question.
You did, yeah. You're always sitting on the fence. You're very, very good. I'll see you next week. I'm looking forward to seeing Dillian Whyte versus Dereck Chisora on December the 22nd.
Nice one.
Cheers, mate. Nice one.